guys, this is Jen from Just Jen Cosplay. Welcome to 2020 and welcome to a random hotel room. Today I'm going to be talking to you about judging and masquerades taking part in competition. Okay, so apart from the awful, terrible light that is right above me, maybe is that's probably slightly better. Look, there you go, I look slightly less frightening right now. So, hello, and I'm really sorry that it's been like 10 months or something since I last posted something to YouTube properly. So, I'm going to try and stop saying so much, some little things. I know I say it a lot, so I'm going to try not to. We shall see. We'll see how I go. Does it straight away. The first thing, that I would like to say, and if you take nothing else away from this video, and you want to go in like 5 seconds, the first and most important thing I would say about entering any competition is to check competition rules. That might sound like a really dumb thing to say, but every competition has slightly different rules. And now I'll go into a little more detail for those of you who don't want to stick around for the rest of it. Don't know what happened then. Sorry. So, yeah, long story short is that most competitions will judge you against 3 criteria. Those criteria will be craftsmanship, so that's how you made your costume. So that's anything from the sewing, foam work, applique, warbler, every single piece, wig styling, everything. Anything that goes into the making of. So that's your craftsmanship. Your other one will be accuracy. So accuracy will be how close you look compared to the image you have supplied them of the character you want it to be. And the third one, so we've had your craftsmanship, your accuracy, so the third one will be performance, usually. Not all competitions have a performance. Some competitions are purely based on performance. The majority of them have an element of all 3, but as I say, check the competition you are taking part in to know. There are certain things, so something I was asked, what about original creations? Well, that you can't prove accuracy, can you? And I was a bit like, well, the best way to prove accuracy of an original creation is to take along your original creation. So let's say, for example, with Critical Role being very in now, a lot of people make original D&D characters. So take along your sheet, your D&D sheet, your actual, what you've written about your character. Did you do any doodles? If you're able to draw, do. If you're not, get one commissioned. Or take along a scrapbook with images of what was it that you thought. So it's all very well going, well, I'm a wood elf. Okay, so what? How long did you envisage the ears to be? What colour was the hair? How many leaves were you going to sew onto the bodice? What did the dress look like that you envisaged? Because if you turn up wearing something and go, well, I look exactly how I expected myself to, chances are a judge is going to call bullshit on you and go, there's clearly something you've changed. So a very good reference image. And then be careful when you are creating your piece, make sure that the reference image you give is the closest to the piece you've made. So that might sound like a really dumb thing to say, but as an example, my Valera, I'll try and put in a couple of images here. I did a first version where I had a big ponytail. And then I did a second version where I cut down the ponytail quite a lot, and that was based on this image by Glen Rain. That worked, hopefully, maybe, we'll see. So effectively when going into judging, for the first one I should have given the first image, and for the second one, the second image, because I changed the outfit throughout. So if I went along going, I've still got this really big bushy ponytail, rather than a thin, longer one, I wouldn't have been accurate. So that's one of the things. There you go. If you do make alterations, change your reference image. The other thing to think about is if you've made changes to the character for a reason, absolutely talk about them. You can say, I wasn't comfortable with the short skirt, so I made mine longer. I didn't want to have my breasts out, so I've made a normal breastplate. I really struggled with making that shape here, and therefore I've had to change that for this reason. Or it might be that you've changed it for a completely different reason. I tried to make it more historically accurate. Okay, so now provide the reference images for the historically accurate piece of of armour or the corsetry or something that you did. So that's sort of my biggest tip really, is when you are going into a competition, fit your reference image to you and what you've done. So it might well be that you go, I made Sylvanas, but there's probably 500 images of Sylvanas. So unless you take if you start with one and yours doesn't necessarily look like the one that you started with, maybe have a little look around and see if there's a fan art or something that looks a lot closer to what you have created, and do a little jiggery pokery. The judges don't know that's not the one you started trying to make. Accuracy, so that is accuracy. Performance, it is going to be completely dependent on your character and on the event that you are in. So I have sung on stage. Why did that? I did a speech. Actually was way more nerve-wracking than singing on stage, because apparently I'm okay with the singing because I'm making a complete fool of myself. But when I was doing a serious skit on stage, I had a proper little meltdown. So yeah, do your performance, make sure that it fits your character. If you want to win, in most cases, unless you are in a completely non-performance based category of some sort, I'm just trying to think, the championships of cosplay at MCM I know has no element of performance in it, and that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head, but there probably are others. So if it's not going to be performance based, then you're fine. If it is performance based, do something a little bit different. If you just sing the song that the character sings, or you say the words that the character says, that's what everyone's going to do. So maybe think of something a little different. Also, if you want to win, don't just do 3 poses. I know a lot of people say that's what you can do, but you will never win. Not never. You're very unlikely to win a competition by just going. When especially in some cases, sometimes 50% of the mark is from the performance. So you'll have got a basic, you got up on stage, tick, rather than that person, wow, that person sang. So you've just lost 50% of the mark and they've gained it. And one of the other things I would say is when it comes to construction, quality over quantity. Always tell the judges if you fucked up. My breastplate on my glass armour, I made 5 times the boob cups on that. 5 fucking attempts it took to get those boobs right. But I'm proud of that, because it's something I did and I learned and I changed and I adapted, and judges love that. Because when we judge, it's people like me judging, we've all made the mistakes. Or maybe we haven't, and then, you're telling us what not to do. So we like this. Tell people what went wrong, or what are you most proud of. So what's the best piece on there? Make them look. Look at the seam that I've done on this. Look at the perfect edging. I was so good. I was really proud of the bias binding or the French seams that I put into every single thing, even though you're not going to see those. Look at this piece of warbler, this bracer. I did this bit here, or the weathering on this prop. The judges will see your passion. However shy you are, passion will always come through. So talk about what you are passionate about and they will see that. And even if you're really struggling to talk to them or look them in the eye or anything like that, they will be able to feel that you love that character and you love that piece of work, and that will really come through. So So I think that's really all I've got to say. Check the competition rules, make sure that your costumes adhere to any specifications they say, so if it's not allowed to be bigger than a certain size, or if they perhaps limit the amount you can spend on one, or any sort of fabric that they don't allow you to use perhaps, then make sure you adhere to those. Make sure that if you're not allowed to use, for example, silly string on stage, a lot of competitions don't like you to use any form of, I want to say projectile, but I remember somebody came on stage and did a great performance, but he used this like silly string, and straight away they were like, no, he is banned from the competition, because effectively what he'd done was make the stage unsafe for the next person. They could have slipped up on it, and that really isn't we're a community and we have to look out for each other, and him being selfish and doing his thing meant that like the next person was delayed and potentially could have hurt themselves if they'd slipped on it. So yeah, don't do bad things. Or like smoke effects, all those kind of things, some of them are weary of it. So if you have a question, ask. Most competitions would rather you ask first, and in most cases they're happy. Like I've got a friend who makes real steel armour, and he was a bit like, oh, they're gonna let me into the con? Nope, they were fine with it. So just ask. And make sure that you adhere to anything, like they might give you just a 2-minute time restriction. So I had a piece that I managed to get down to 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Any shorter than that wouldn't have been right. I would have liked a little bit longer, to be fair, but I just messaged him and said, I'm really sorry, I can't get it any shorter than 2 minutes 6 seconds. Is that okay? Again, they were fine with that. But what you don't want to do is turn up on the day and go, oh, by the way, it's 6 seconds longer, and they go, no, you're disqualified. Just check. And last but by no means least, enjoy it. It is great. You're up on stage, everybody's looking at you. There is this, most of them have pre-judging where you talk to them beforehand. So actually that moment on stage, that's your time to shine, and it's great fun. And I say, everyone's looking at you. You're literally the centre of attention, and you get to show off all of your hard work. So I highly recommend competing. You don't have to do it competitively. You can do it for fun, you can enjoy it, and it is a great experience, and I would highly recommend it to anyone to have a go. You don't have to do it every time, and in fact I'd probably recommend don't do it every time, because it takes hours out of your day. Be prepared that if you are going to enter a masquerade, that you will likely have to register. You will then have to go along and do pre-judging, which might involve waiting around for potentially hours on end to see a judge. Some do time slots, some do you get in line and you just see each other one by one. And then you'll have to queue up again to then go on stage. So you spend a lot of time queuing, standing on your feet. So make sure you take water and drink, etc. Make sure you're comfortable. If you need to be able to take shoes or something like that off, maybe ask somebody to wait with you if you're allowed, or let the con organisers know and just say, like, I've got high heels on, am I able to sit down? They might not have any ability to do that, but don't ask, don't get. And yeah, enjoy it. And if you've got any questions, if there's anything that you think I've missed, or maybe I've just sort of glanced past something a bit too quickly, because this is the first time I did it in a while, I didn't want it to be too long or anything like that, then yeah, drop a message, ask me a question. Remember, as always, I do still Twitch stream. I'm back Twitch streaming, so yay. So you can ask me live there. You can ask me questions down below. You can get me on Instagram and Facebook, which again I'll link down below. Oh, and Twitter. I do tweet. I do the tweeting. So yeah, feel free to ask me a question if there's something that I've not covered. Alternatively, if you think that you know something, or you have a recommendation of cons that are great to go into the masquerade at, or great for starters or something like that, again, drop them down, let other people know, and share the love. And thank you all very much for paying attention to me for this long with this really awful lighting. Sorry, I'll do it better next time. But yeah, thanks a lot for joining in, and I'll see you next time. Mwah! Bye bye.